welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to solve the Leetcode question number 42, trapping rainwater. It's a hard problem. In this problem we are given an array height where each value represent the height of a stack or bar. So the first value is 0, second is 1, 0, 2, 1, 0, 1, 3, and so forth. So if as the question says that if there's some rain, then the water will accumulate between these two bars, um, and we have to find how much water is there. So let's just manually compute it. So the water is basically, we know we have to find the area, right, of this block. So the area is equal to the length into breadth, and or we can say the height into breadth, right? So the breadth is given as 1 here. So the area is equal to height. Okay, area is equal to height in this case. So the height is 1 for this. Okay, let's just write it down. It's 1, 2, 1, 1. So the total is 6. So that's what we are being asked. Okay, and then there's another example. So let's just try to basically break this problem into smaller part in order to solve it. So as we are given an array, right? So the smallest possible example is the case is that if we just have one particular block, right? So what will happen? Let's see. So if we just have one block, so if there is rain, so no water will accumulate, right? If there are two blocks, then they can have like three different configurations where like one is bigger, other is smaller, and they can be at the same level. So in neither of the cases, the water will accumulate. So in other words, we can say that if n is the number of elements which are there in an array, if n is less than equal to 2, then we can return that area is 0 or like the water is 0. Now let us see the case when we have more than two blocks or exactly three blocks. What will happen? So in this configuration, it will not hold water, neither in this, but when there is a pocket being formed, then it will hold some water. So let us see. Let's uh, so this is 2, this is 4. Let's assume, okay. So how much water will be there? Let's just like manually compute it. So how do we do it? So not the right color. Okay. All right. So that's the water we know. So how we know it? For this particular block, number 2, so we go to the left and see, okay, what's the highest value? What's the highest like bar, which is 3. So we go to the right, what's the highest bar, which is 4. So we basically divide left and right, basically take the min of these value, and we'll get this like water level. So in other words, we can say the water level is equal to min of the left and right. Okay, so once we have the water level, so to find the height, all we need to do is subtract the current value from this water level. So we can say the height is equal to the water level minus the current height. Given the fact that this number should be positive, right? So it is possible that this height comes as negative. Like I'll show you in next example. So like in that case, we have to ignore that number. Okay, so let's move on to more complicated example here. Okay. Okay, so here we are given an array like 4, 2, 0, 6, 2, 3, 5. Now let's just like manually compute how much the water will be accumulated. So if I just like draw a water level here and I'm naming each of these stacks. Okay, I can ignore, we can ignore this first and last. Why? Because the first and last will not hold any water. So let's just name like this A, B, C, D, E. Okay. Um, we can ignore first and last. I hope that is clear. And for A, the height is 2, 4. This is 5 minus 2 is 3. 5 minus 3 is 2. Okay. So the total water it will hold is coming out to be 11. Okay. Now let's try to do it using a pseudocode. Let's just try to make how we'll do it in code. So basically, as I explained earlier here, for a particular block, how do we compute it? We go to its left, we go to its right, see what's the highest value, and then take the min of those. Okay, so that's exactly the same thing we need to do in this array. Exactly same thing, but we need to do it just for these values, like middle ones. These values we can ignore the first and the first and the last, and we need to compute the we can compute two arrays. First is for left and other one is for right. Okay, let's just quickly do it. Um, so I'm computing two array, left and right, for each of these. So also like in the code, we can initialize the left as the left highest for the first one as 4 and the right highest as 5. Okay, the left has 4, right has 5. Now let's do it for A. So for A, what's the highest left it has? It has just one left, which is 4. And for B, we'll basically compare it with the highest value which we found, which is 4, with the A's value, right? Because we have seen all the other lefts so far except A. So from 4 and 2, what's the highest? That's 4. And for C, same thing, 4 with 0, 4 for D, 6 with 4 is 6, and for E, 6 with 2, which is 6. Okay, and while computing the left, we go from left to right, and while computing the right, we'll move in this direction, right? Because that's how we'll compute the maximum right for each of them. So we are ignoring this first and the last, right? So for E, um, we can, like as I said, we can preset that this value is 5, right? Because that's the only right it has for E. And for D, compare 5 with the E's value. So 3 and 5 is 5, and then 5 with D's value for C, then 5 for B, 5 with C's value, which is 6. So 5 and 6, 6 is a winner. And for A, um, 6 with the B's value, which is 0. So 6 is the clear winner. Okay, so now let's compute the water level. Okay, the water level is min of these, right? So it's 4, 4, 4, 5, and 5. And the let's me write the current value. Current value for each of these AB is 2, 0, 6, 2, 3. Okay, now how do we compute the height? Height is water level minus current, right? Here we saw the height is water level minus current. So 4 minus 2 is 2, 4, this is minus 2, 3 and 2. Okay, so we'll ignore this minus 2. Okay, we'll ignore this value like in the code. So, and you will basically see that this value 2 is same as what we computed, um, and 4 is same as this height. 3 is what we computed here, 2 is what we computed here. So this is the whole pseudo code, how we're gonna approach this problem. And for the time complexity of this problem is that we are for computing the left, we are just taking one uh, round. Okay, we are just iterating it once. So the time complexity for using this operation is O of n, not this pencil. Okay, so for left is O of n, for right it's O of n. Then again we are subtracting, so highest is O of n. That's our time complexity. Okay, so now let me basically show you the pseudocode and kind of like explain it. The code is already on GitHub. I'll put link in the description. Okay, Okay, so this code I have written in Python. I think it's pretty easy to understand. Okay, so here we have this function find rainwater, which basically takes one array. We can compute the length of an array and initialize water as 0. As we already discussed, if the length of this array is less than or equal to 2, then we'll return 0. Then um, as I said, we can preset the left max and right max values. So left max is the first and right max is the rightmost value, right? And then create two empty arrays which will hold like two arrays, these left and right, which will hold left and the right values. So initialize them as 0. So the important point for this while uh, basically initializing the populating this left array is that we'll go from the second value, right? From this 4, which is the second value, to the last value. As it's shown here, we're going from 1 to the last value, LA, because LA is the length and we have 0 based index, right? So, and while iterating the right array, we are going from the last value um, to the second last value to the first value, which is this here. So okay, so that's pretty simple. So we basically initialize these basically, yeah, populate these two arrays, and once that is done, the width is 1 as it's set, and then we'll just loop through this array and find the water level for each of the blocks. And here also I am iterating from 1 to the second last value, right? From this to this. And for each of them, we compute the water level. If the water level minus the current value is greater than 0, if that is positive, like we did here, if this value is positive, then add it to the water and then return water. So yeah, that is the code for this problem. I hope it is clear. In case you have any questions, please write them in the comment box. Also, this is the first video I ever made on YouTube, so your suggestions and your comments, they're highly welcome. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.